Hello and good afternoon, good evening, in some locations, good morning. Welcome to Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and friends. And of course, well, I do have a friend here. Hargeet Chani is with us as he always is. Kay Asante should be here momentarily. Listen, folks, we're going to have a fun conversation. The next 90 minutes is going to be a lot of laughs, some big talk about Call of Duty, the marketing, some Call of Duty swag released today, and I think everybody that's anybody jumped in on it. There's an elite controller, there's a regular controller, and of course there is the new wrap. And again, we're going to talk about why this needs to happen more often for all of their first party games moving forward, because again, they're looking to make money and people buy controllers. I'm one of them, and people like to buy wraps because people like special edition consoles. And it's definitely the cheaper way to make these custom consoles. The wrap is $60. It's probably a little high price, to be honest with you. It probably could have been $30, maybe 40, but I'm not going to front. I got it because listen, I complain all the time about I want custom consoles, and nobody wants to keep buying consoles, but I will keep buying the wraps. But that's not the only topic. We have actually a lot of gaming news to get into. We're going to talk about the Xbox partner preview briefly. We talked about it yesterday, but I do want to get Kay Asante and Hargeet Chani's thoughts because we are expecting a couple of world premieres that are going to be there. What those world premieres are, we don't know. And also, anybody on Twitter or X? Well, I am all the time. I know Hargeet's not, and lucky for him. But yesterday, my timeline was flooded with Japanese gamers showing off their new Series X digital. That I mean, there was, of course, some had the Series X with a disk drive. Some people even had the Series S, the 1 terabyte. But most of my timeline was filled with people from Japan, a region that notoriously does not buy Xboxes. Well, they were buying them in droves. And thanks to Hargeet, we do have some information about one of the biggest sites over there and where the ranking is for these new consoles. Pretty interesting stuff. But Hargeet, how you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm getting over a cold, unfortunately, but hopefully I won't go into a coughing spat too often. But yeah, it's been pretty annoying the last few days. But I've just barely kind of got out of it. I wouldn't have been able to even talk this much without just starting to cough. So so far so good. We'll see how it goes. I'll probably have times where I'm muting and then you'll notice me coughing. But,
well, listen, and you always keep water with you. I have 2 with me, so that's usually what saves me as well. Speaking of the devil, here he is. Well, he's not the devil. Kay Asante, what's going on, brother? How's everything?
See, now you expect me to go because I'm gonna call the devil. I'm sorry, my bad. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
Good. Fellow gray beards. Look, I didn't shave. I got the gray beard thing going. I hate it. But I didn't want to shave until I was getting ready to leave tomorrow because I want to look proper for my debut in LA. So
but you know what? You should just like not shave it all. Walk around, just let it hang, man. It's all good. Look at Hargeet. Isn't it glorious? Calm down. Come on.
I love it. Oh man. So listen, Kay Asante, brother. I know you've been super busy at work, but thank you so much for joining us. Like I was saying, we were gonna talk about the Black Ops 6 marketing, the new controller, the new console wrap, the new Elite controller. Of course, Xbox Series X console selling pretty well in Japan. And we have the proof, thanks to Hargeet, because we got numbers. And numbers don't lie. So there's that. But I also want to kind of talk about some of the rumblings. There is a fervor building with tomorrow's Xbox partner preview. And we just happen to have, Wu Chang, the Fallen Feathers. Did you find folks know that was being shown at Times Square today?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and that game was looking really good. So they actually thanked Xbox for taking, in their words, taking a chance on us. I think there's something special brewing here, but we are hearing, Kay Asante, that there could be a couple of world premieres. The question is, the question I'll ask is, what would those world premieres be? But how you feeling?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here. It's been a minute since I've been able to get back into my normal swing of things. And actually, I wasn't here last week because I was almost about to get fluttered away to Kansas because I felt like my house was lifting up. But yes, we survived. All is well. Everything's good. So yeah, no, I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to get into them topics because I do think it is an interesting time. It's a unique time to be an Xbox fan.
Well, I mean, as Xbox fans, you can't argue that we're not eating good, number one, especially if you subscribe to Game Pass. If it's your only console of choice, you're getting games like Dragon Ball, you're getting games like Metaphor, Refantasio, you're getting games that normally would skip the brand, but it's not. Okay. And it appears that Xbox gamers, well, they kind of buy games because I bought like 17 games in the last 3 weeks. It's almost to the point of a sickness. Honestly, I bought too many games. It's just ridiculous, and it's not because I'm rich. It's because I'm smart. I save those gift cards in the sock drawer and forget that they exist. And well, when the fall starts to come around, here we go. Here we go, indeed. And I have $300 left worth of gift cards that is just sitting, waiting for me. And I got 110 on my Xbox account. And I have 2 games in the cart. I don't know if I should pull the trigger. Predator Hunting Grounds and the bug smashing game, Starship Troopers, which looks really freaking good.
Oh, Starship Troopers is fun. It's really good. I think you'll love
it. I listen, it is what it is. But listen, gentlemen, let's jump right into it. But before we actually do, I do want to thank and say prayers and best wishes to our very good friend, Highlander 001, who's not only been a very generous friend of the channel, but he is an amazing community member. He's in everybody's chats on a regular basis. And tomorrow he is having his open heart surgery. I believe I don't know if it's open heart, but he says, I'm going to miss your show tomorrow for my bypass. So he's having a major surgery. So of course, please in the chat, wish this man.
See you on the next show, sir.
Indeed.
And I want to hear all about it.
Yes, indeed. So he says this after dropping a very generous $5 super chat. I'm going to wish your show tomorrow for my bypass, but I will be here Friday morning. I am afraid of my wife when I buy toys, and then of course the bypass. Well, listen, unfortunately, there's not going to be a show tomorrow, so you're not missing anything, and there's not going to be a show on Friday because I am going to be flying out to LA to do something. Now, I know the cat's out of the bag, but I'm not breaking any NDAs, and I'm certainly not breaking the trust of Bethesda. I mean, everyone knows what everyone's doing. I mean, even like, who was it? It was Tom Henderson that literally wrote a story that says what he's doing. That's not what my paperwork said, but then again, I'm just a small YouTuber, and I take this stuff super serious, and I'm incredibly grateful. But I'll be out in LA tomorrow. I'm doing something on Friday that I will be able to talk about on the 29th of October. I will be able to show you guys and gals what I was doing. And I'm flying back on the red eye Friday, late Friday night. So, no shows, but we are going to be, again, apologies for missing and not being able to cover the big Xbox event. But again, this is a really big deal for the channel. So as much as I want to be here with you to celebrate what they're showing, I'm going to be on the plane. And of course, I don't think you can podcast from a plane, and I'd probably annoy the passengers. But listen,
I'd love to see you try though, Boom. That'd be amazing.
You know what? I would be the one guy to give it a shot, but it is what it is. It's fine. But listen, thank you for everyone being here. We got over 330 people checking out the show live. We appreciate you very much for hanging out with us. Today, if you didn't know, well, not today, I picked up my console today, but yesterday, the Xbox Series X 2 terabyte, the Xbox Series X all digital, which is 1 terabyte, which that kind of should have been 2 terabyte too, and the 1 terabyte Series S launched. And I don't know if you got a chance to take a look at your timeline recently, but my timeline was littered with Japanese gamers being very excited about purchasing their new Xbox consoles. Now, look, I know I'm going to get clipped, saying that Japan is actually buying Xbox consoles. Well, that's fine if you clip me, but let's be real. I never ever suggested that because they're starting to sell now that they're going to overtake PlayStation or Nintendo. That's not going to happen. But this is fantastic progress because normally, like Hargeet, and I want to go to you first, they're never on any lists that are
Yeah.
outside of 50, right? Like they are. So
Yeah.
you sent over over a list. And it's for yodobashi.com. Now, yodobashi.com, from what I understand, is basically Japan's Best Buy, right? Is that comparable?
Yeah, it's their second largest like e-tailer, if you know, online web presence retailer. Amazon being the number one.
Of course.
And you know, just looking at their, you know, as far as their sales, they kind of tailor to the technology arena. And you know, normally you'd see the Nintendos and the PlayStations up top, and you do right now. Like the top selling thing is the PlayStation 5 Pro. But for a slight bit, when that price increase happened in Japan for PlayStation 5,
Yep.
the number one became the Xbox Series X digital white, you know, one terabyte without the disk drive. You're like, well, that's pretty interesting. Obviously, that does not mean that they just sold like 1 million. Obviously, it's nothing like that.
Right.
It's just an interesting tidbit. Wait a minute. Normally, it's not even in the top 50, and suddenly it's number one. Like, wow. So people like kind of gravitated toward that. That's interesting, right? Maybe it was like the price increase. Just like said, well, gee, if Sony's going to charge that much, why don't I try the other side? And over there, the prices for the Xbox are lower. They're not at the parity they are here. They charge less than the PlayStation. Just like on the site right now, the Slim, you know, because these are not in dollars, these are in yen, right?
Yen, yeah, of course.
The Slim is about 80,000 yen. The Series X all digital is 60,000 yen. That's a discount. That's quite a bit of a discount. The PlayStation 5 Pro is 120, so it's about twice the cost of getting the Series X. So just putting it in perspective, right? It's like, hey, you know, for them, it's quite a discount, and hey, maybe it's something they're like, I've got the PlayStation, I've got the Switch. Why don't I try the Xbox, right? And you know, for a bit, I saw both the Series X, the digital white, plus the normal 1 terabyte with the disk drive up in the top 5, and I'm like, well, that's pretty crazy too. Right now, it's number 4. Which is, again, pretty crazy. It's ahead of the Switch. Again, the Switch is kind of at the end of its life, so that's kind of fair, right? But right now, the PlayStation is firmly in number 1 and 3. It's Pro, and the third is Slim, and number 4 is this. And again, I don't expect that to mean it's millions or anything like that. It's just an interesting tidbit that suddenly it's kind of ranking, right? So maybe they're selling, you know, like thousands or something like that consoles. That's pretty cool to just realize, hey, maybe there's like an uptick in Japan for you know, Xbox consoles. Cool, right? Like maybe it's resonating. Maybe the TGS is working, or maybe they're advertising more, marketing more, and it's starting to resonate, right? So cool. I don't know what the numbers are going to look like. I don't know if it's going to be crazy. Now Phil had said that their engagement in Asia and in Japan has gone up considerably. Now you have to understand, it's going up from crap, which it's like under 1%, to maybe it's higher. I'm just putting that in perspective. Yes,
that's exactly
even if it gets to 1.5, that's fantastic. It's 50% more, but it's 1.5%.
From where they were. You can go, hey, they're 100% increased. It's just like 2 more people.
It's 2% now. It's like, ooh. So I just put that in perspective. But to be fair, it's something, right? It's an increase, and that's a good thing.
They're not going in reverse.
So, exactly. Increasing market share, always a good thing, right? So something they're doing is working across Asia, right? Now, is it going to match the PlayStation brand? No. I don't think that's happening for a while, unless PlayStation royally screws it up, which, by the way, they have been doing in the last couple of years. But unless they royally screw it up, they've got the market, because people just recognize it. They just recognize PlayStation as like the gaming thing. Nintendo's kind of behind them in a lot of Asia as well, but the Nintendo brand is pretty good there, right? Xbox is non-existent. So the fact that they're getting anything, I think that's fantastic. Now, I hope they can take that momentum and make it much bigger. There's also the PC side of it. They're getting a lot of PC momentum over there, a lot of PC Game Pass momentum over there. Again, these aren't numbers that are like, you know, 40 million. But hey, if they get 1 million customers, that's a lot of customers. It's a growth pattern, and I like that they're getting into a positive territory and they're doing something to get into that market. So that's kind of where it is. I'm not expecting to see, hey, we outsold PlayStation. They're not gonna. It's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. So
Right.
don't expect that, right? But hey, they might say, hey, we just had like a sales spike of 60%. That's cool. It's something. Any positive news in that market, that's a good thing. So that's what I've been seeing. Now, if they actually ever substantiate numbers, we'll find out. They don't generally do that. So maybe somebody like an MPD equivalent might tell us, hey, they sold this much over there. Maybe we'll find something like that. But that's what I've been seeing, and this has been happening for months now because that like price hike happened. Was that in August, September or something? It was a while ago. Right?
It was about a month and 6 weeks ago, maybe, give or take.
So since then, I've been seeing that trend, right? That it's kind of in that top 5, 10 spot, which is really kind of cool. It's just good to see. So if it continues that pattern, what the heck? And interestingly, it's not the S, it's the X.
It's
right?
the
That's
X.
even more interesting.
Yeah.
It's not even the S, it's the X. So okay, cool.
Look, there's something to be said about doing better, even if it's a little bit, right? And I was clear about this the other day when I talked about it. And if there are people on the interwebs that just want to make you look to be a boob, it's fine. Hey, listen, people are going to hate on you with whatever success you get. Put these people on the pay no mind list. But there's something happening here, Hargeet and Kay Asante, that I kind of want to just paint the picture. Now, I agree 1,000% with Hargeet. They are not, and I mean they, meaning Xbox, are not going to overnight win over every Japanese gamer and take over the conversation from Switch and PlayStation. That's not going to happen. But what's interesting is during TGS 24, right? They had their show. Now, a lot of people didn't dig it. I gave it a 7.5. Some people gave it lower. Some other people gave it higher. That I understood was I was interested in it because I like JRPGs, but some of those games for me, well, they weren't for me, but they were speaking to a Japanese community, a Japanese Xbox community, that these are games that they play. Now, during their time there, we saw pictures with Sarah and Phil at almost every one of the big publisher booths, as well as some of the smaller ones. They were handshaking, they were kissing babies, they were taking pictures, laying the seeds down here. Because ultimately, if we know anything about Japan, if we know anything about Asia specifically, they are a mobile and handheld type of gamer base. They have turned from the home consoles. Back, 15, 20 years ago, when you'd be opening and reading your EGMs and your Next Gen Gamer, remember those? My actual physical print, Gamers Republic, one of my favorite magazines of all time. You would see that they would have stories, because there was no internet back then, that you would see people lined up for 3 days to get their console. Now, obviously, that doesn't happen anymore because of online shopping and because there's no real midnight releases anymore, which is a sin, to be honest with you. But, Kay Asante, these console sales, even though they're not in the millions, right? At least we don't think it is, right? Could be thousands. They sold 10,000 the white Series X's. Wow, that's more than they would have sold before. But what I'm talking about with the seed laying here is Xbox has a handheld coming out. And we don't know what this handheld is going to be. I know there's a lot of talk of it. Well, it needs to be a ROG Ally-esque type of console where it's open-ended, where you have your Xbox, you have your Steam library, you have your Epic Game Store available on it. Others want a closed platform where it's just Xbox. Listen, I don't care one way or another. As long as I go to turn it on and it starts just like my one from the TV, I'm golden, right? That's all I want. But these particular sales that you're seeing in your timeline of all these Japanese gamers buying Xboxes and sharing it on the socials are going to be potential customers for this handheld that could be unveiled this year. What are your thoughts?
I hope so, sir. I hope so. So me hearing all this news about how potentially much better Xbox is sold in Japan as of late tells me some like and I agree with all the points that you guys have made. You know, I think it's great. They start from nothing. They start from very low, obviously, and they're slowly climbing. Obviously, you know, they're doing that. My experience at Gamescom tells me that in other markets they speak with different voice than they do here, right? So while we have certain complaints and while we have certain criticisms, when you see them in the EU, they speak with a different voice that I'm used to seeing in the Americas, right? And I'm assuming based on that they speak with even a different voice in Japan and in the Asia Pac regions than they would in Europe and in America, right? So I think that's what's leading to what we're seeing here in the numbers. Another interesting tidbit that I like seeing here is a lot of folks complain or criticize, saying, why would Japanese audiences gravitate towards this game or that game that Xbox is offering? Oh, you know, I don't know, a guitar in Last of Us. No Japanese people really like it's. That's not part of their equation, their zeitgeist. Why would anybody play it? I get all that, but as we've seen from Microsoft and Xbox and their marketing and their events, they keep reiterating their games. It's what they bring to the market. We keep seeing, I know with criticism, we keep seeing Indiana Jones. Now Indiana Jones has been translated into Japanese, right?
Indeed it has, sir.
Right? Now this game and that game and all of the Elder Scrolls and Bethesda games are also getting translated, and they've always been really good. It seems to speak a counter to the narrative that you must make Japanese games to appease the Japanese audience.
Correct.
It seems to me, and you know, time will tell. We'll see how it goes, right? It's not as we keep hedging the bets here. When you sell -1, selling 2 is 150% to 200% uplift. So when they're talking in percentages, understand what they're saying. 2 people bought it. Oh my God, 200%. No, I get it, right? But at the end of the day, it looks like they may not need to Blue Dragon or any of those specifically to capture the Japanese audience, right? They're still bringing their wares that you know and love, that the American audience have had, those who have bought in, and they are bringing those same wares to the Japanese audience, and it's looking like it's catching some heat. It's catching some fire.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, you know, I'm not surprised about that, right? Because at the end of the day, with the advent of of social media and all of that, we've basically made the world much smaller than it used to be. So everyone can know the same meme no matter where you live, right? So people are very close, more closer than they always have ever been. So it stands to reason that the Japanese audience would also be excited to play Indiana Jones, right? I've always kind of took issue with those who think that you have to make a uniquely Japanese game in order for Japanese audiences to enjoy it, right? This stuff tells me that there is an audience there that does like the stuff that we also like, right? Because let's be real, the European audience likes the stuff that we like, right? Sometimes there are nuanced differences, right? And I will also say, I'll go out on the limb because I can do that and say the African audiences probably as well, right? I like the idea that you don't have to fashion the content for me specifically in order for me to like it. There's some universal themes that everyone can enjoy, and based on their success here, as small as it may be, it means when they do thread the needle and Booty releases the game and it works well and it plays well, everyone likes it, right? No matter where you come from, you like it. It's fun. It's good. Now, the other part of the puzzle that I think is interesting here is, even though people say, oh yeah, it's 200% because 2 people bought it, I get it. But the difference between them and everyone else is, their console sales are their sales, point blank, right? The amount of consoles they sell will equal the amount of people that will play those games they release. For Xbox, that is one of many different outputs, right? There are many people who go, you know what? I don't need a console in my life. And for them, they say, no console, no problem. And then the hardcore get mad. I get that. But still, the non-console audience hears that. I would love to know the amount of people who purchased Fire Sticks or had Fire Sticks already and purchased the console controller just so that they could tap into Game Pass, right? That would be a useful, excellent number that we don't have, right? Beyond that, there are many other users. This is the Asian region we're talking about. Heavy PC audience, right? What's to say they don't just go, hey, this is interesting. I will sign up to Game Pass PC, which, let's be clear, is the best deal in gaming. No, not Ultimate. Game Pass PC is the best deal in gaming. Why? Because you don't have to pay extra for all these other extra sides, this and that, and you get still day and date, right? And most of the Asian audience, as you know, has been
on PC, brother,
is a PC audience.
Yep.
So when they say it's their fastest growing environment, it may not necessarily even mean console. It may just mean more people just going, you know what, this service is pretty cool. I'll sign up and see what's going on, right? But then of course we have Boom, who's talking about seeing so many like cool posts of Asian folks signing up to the new Series S on his timeline, which is anecdotal, but still is a notable thing. So I don't know, like based on my experience going to Germany and checking out how they speak in those regions, I think it's only a matter of time, honestly. You know, it may still just be small table stakes today, but I really do think it's only a matter of time until a larger majority of the audience, gaming audience, see the value that these guys are bringing. And when we say 200%, we don't mean 2 people. Then we mean, 300,000 people, maybe 1 million people. I expect that in short order will start to happen.
So, Keisante, to add to that, you want to know how cheap PC Game Pass is in Japan?
Please.
It's 425 yen, which turns out to be $2.84 per month.
Wow.
Why the hell am I living here paying $20 freaking dollars?
Well, Japan is expensive.
$284.
$284.
Right?
$2.84.
And you don't have to pay for cloud. You get day and date. You get games on your PC. You don't even have a console. So why do you need console access? You don't need that.
You get the EA, you get all that stuff. It's all in there.
You get EA, the whole thing. Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna say this. There's a reason why they have made this, and this didn't just start. This has been going on for the last few years. Last year they took it to another level, and I think they raised the bar this year as well. And when I say raise the bar, again, maybe not all of the games are for you. Maybe half of the games weren't for you. I get it. But they're not trying to sell you those games. They're trying to sell those games to the Japanese audience. And interestingly enough, you know how infatuated a lot of us are with JRPGs, right? Like we get a game like Metaphor, and it is probably going to win Game of the Year. It is my favorite game. I cannot stop playing it. And I'm 20 hours in.
It's going to be Astro. You know it is, Boom. It's going to be Astro.
I don't think so,
They're
man.
giving it to Astro.
I mean,
come on.
Yeah, I would agree with Hargita on this one. And let's be clear, we're not talking about a merit-based conversation. This is not about who should win. It's about who is part of the voting body.
Yeah,
it's going to Astro. Let's just be clear.
Astro. They got the nostalgia feels. By the way, just for comparison, Ultimate is $7.35 in Japan.
Wow.
So there you go. But
is every house worth $1 million in Japan?
They have the best internet. I will tell you that. That's for sure.
Because I'm thinking of trading my baby in. Maybe I want to go buy a house. I'm just saying, $7,
bro. They need people, right? Not to get into that.
They definitely do.
Shit, but they are in a massive decline because they don't have kids. They just don't, and they're very xenophobic. And they've been opening that policy up to like import people because they need people. They are running out of people. So,
well, again, listen. At the end of the day, Xbox is moving in a positive direction. They're not leaping PlayStation. They're not leaping, bounding either Nintendo, but they are going and moving in the correct direction. And I think that when you consider the way that they have seeded the ground, they are growing from the ground up. And when this handheld releases, which is going to be very PC-esque, I really believe that. Yes, it's going to have an OS that's very similar to your Xbox. At least that's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hoping. But it is probably going to be a bit open-ended, kind of like a ROG Ally, as it should, because a lot of people will buy it for that reason. And this is a region where that would sell very well, because obviously you've heard the numbers. Obviously, there are a heavy PC audience, and suspiciously enough, what's coming to Xbox Game Pass for PC? Lots of RTS games that everyone likes, including 2 classic games they'll be there.
Let's be clear. Lots of RTS games that the Asian region specifically loves.
Yeah,
I mean, people have StarCraft tournaments still now. Like, when do you get that in the West?
When they announce a new StarCraft, it is going to break the world in half. Oh, yeah. It really is. And again, not a game for me at all. But I appreciate people who are enjoying it, and of course, I like to see people happy, so it works out for me. But gentlemen, before we get into some of the Black Ops marketing and some of the things that happened today, do want to catch up on super chats here. We have Highlander, which of course I read. So again, shout out to you, Highlander. Thank you so much for the first super chat of the day. Zach drops a very generous $5 super chat and says Famitsu, which is Famitsu Wave. If you don't know, they are the oldest running publication for game reviews in Japan. They have been there since the freaking 80s, ladies and gentlemen. That's how long they have been around, and they are still there. Zach goes on to say, Famitsu posts weekly hardware sales in Japan, and in September, I'm assuming they sold 3,000 Xboxes, 250,000 Switches, and 40,000 PS5s.
So it's not catching up, right?
No,
don't worry about catching up.
Yeah,
but it might have been like 1,000 before.
It might have been
relatively.
Less than that.
We're right. 2 people bought it. 200%. Yay!
I love it. We have RC Polygons says drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, I think Boom has jumped the gun on Xbox isn't marketing their games. Clearly, Xbox likes to shotgun market, which they do within the month before releasing. Xbox doesn't have a copy the PlayStation market practice. I mean, listen, you're not wrong, dude. They do have that's a fantastic 1-to-1. It really is a shotgun kind of a way to do it. It's widespread, boom, and there it is. Marketing is expensive. I get it. The way that Sony markets, they spend a lot of money on marketing, man. They really do. Like, usually it's about half of what a game would cost. So let's say, for instance, like Spider-Man cost $315 million to make. That was, of course, Spider-Man 2. They spent, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we've heard how much they spend, and it's usually a little bit more than half. So if that's in fact the case, they spent $160 million on marketing. Like, wow. But
don't forget the license cost for Spider-Man.
The license cost it went up too. Yeah, it did go up. So yeah, there's all of that. But great point, RC. Thank you so much for the generosity, brother. JD Gamer drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, Hargeet, you were right, and I need to hold my L. After rewatching the CES Dev Spotlight, I've know that the ML block is an extension of an already existing CUs rather than an addition of this to the silicon. That's right over my mohawk.
Which podcast he was on where he was saying that, hey, they have the additional machine learning capabilities with the Series X and Series S, right? This is why they waited for a while for those dev kits, right? They were working with AMD to create that. But as I understood, it was an extension of the CUs. It was not a separate thing. So they just baked it into the current compute units. So you could take away some compute units from graphical fidelity or just running as just graphics engines, but use it for machine learning. So that capability exists, like they have with the pisser, but that capability hasn't really
I'm waiting
been
for the
leveraged.
crapper, by the way. I'm waiting for the crapper. It's
Yeah.
gonna
But again, I don't know how effective it is because nobody's
Mm.
that I'm aware of. I don't think they've leveraged it yet.
Yeah,
So
no one,
if
but
they,
Hargeet, it's interesting, right? Ultimately, and obviously, the calculations are in tops these days. Tops
Yep.
are the new T flops, right? The Xbox, which no one cared about when it was released, had like 97 tops, which the minimum requirement for having tops that give you some interesting features in Windows, for example, is 45. Series X has 97 tops. PS5 Pro, 300 tops.
Wow.
That's gonna be the next gen feature, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? So even at 97 tops, I think you're pretty much taking up the whole compute unit, right? So it's all the compute units that you have. So yeah, those numbers are sort of inflated fake numbers, realistically, right?
Yeah, of course.
But the 300, that's where it becomes useful, right? So and that's where maybe you get a pisser gives you a bit more of the AI capability.
We shall see what the pisser can do.
But yeah,
right. So far, it's handling anti-aliasing. I'm like, come on, do more than that. But
yeah,
300 tops is nothing.
But anyways, that's what that is, right? That's what JD Gamer's talking about. It's
yeah. I appreciate the breakdown for sure. JD Gamer drops an additional $2 super chat and says, "By the way, port begging ponies still got no games." Of course, thank you, JD Gamer. Appreciate that very much. So, gentlemen, we got to talk about Call of Duty Black Ops. Listen, it is going to be the biggest game of the year. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be the most sold game of the year. It is going to make Microsoft a boatload and oodles of money.
Wait, it's not Concord? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's not Concord because that one went DOA. Sorry,
slander.
It's not Concord. No, but it is.
Why are we going so hard this evening? What are we doing?
You know what's interesting? Did you guys? Well, I don't think Hargeet would have seen. Oh wow, look at that! There it is. And the guy should be having his mouth open like that in shock because his game is dead. So there you go. Merry Christmas. That is what it is. Call of Duty. Did you guys see that there was going to be a Master Chief skin in Modern Warfare 3, and they put the kibosh on that? I think, and this is the rumor that I heard, and the rumor, I'm not breaking any stories. I read the rumor online, so everybody knows about it. Supposedly, that is going to be one of the operators for Black Ops 6. And if that in fact is, 6. Okay. Yeah, so if that's in fact the case, take my money, please. Yes and yes. And shout out to Sin, who's taking a public L, which you shouldn't, brother. Listen, we all get it wrong. He was taking a public L about the no special edition console, and we wound up getting the wrap. So no L's for you, sir. We listen.
Yeah, let's be fair. That's not technically an L, right? Like the wrap is not an L.
No. But he was saying he didn't think it was going to happen. He would have bet money on that it wouldn't happen, but here it is. The wrap is out. It's $60. I bought it. Hargeet got it. I don't know if you got it yet. My brother went and got it. It's dope. It looks really good. Of course, there are 2 controllers because why wouldn't there be? I got the regular edition controller. I had just ordered a new Elite, and that's fine because I got the crystal green one, which I'm actually going to do an unboxing for. It is really freaking sharp. It's nice. So Jesse James saying, what is an operator? Well, that would be the characters. They're known as operators. That's I guess I'm ex-military, so maybe that's my military isms coming out. But yes, you're considered an operator. But yes, listen, Hargeet, we knew the marketing was going to come fast and furious. We knew it. Again, even though Xbox owns Activision has their own publishers. People that do all the publicity on the box and on the actual IP. But we kind of knew based on, remember the marketing blitz that they did where people actually thought that they defaced the freaking monuments, right? Like I had people like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that for video games. I'm like, hold on, that's fake. That didn't happen. What's wrong with you? Oh, it didn't? Oh my goodness. Come on now, stop it. And they went crazy. And then of course we got the beta. The beta did monster numbers and it made me come back to a series that I have not been back to play like you're going to play single player, Hargeet. I would have immediately went to single player. Nope, not this time around. I cannot wait to jump into multiplayer first because I'm going to be murking these kids, these punks, left, right, and center. And you guys saw the footage. I'm no slouch. There were a couple of matches. I got 40 kills, and that wasn't luck. That wasn't bots either. Everborn Saga, wherever you may be, kind sir. And okay, it's not exactly what I'm talking about. But listen, the marketing, it's everywhere. It really is. They turned the dial up to 11. We got the new controllers. There's a pair of them. One is an Elite. One is you can design. You can actually find both of them in design labs. So you don't have to take the one, because I changed mine up a little bit. I made all the buttons black to match. I made the top black. I made the back orange. So I kind of, you can, that's what the great part about design labs is, you design it for you. And of course the console wrap, which is again, it's a phenomenal way to do custom consoles without having to market and package custom consoles. And my thought to anyone at Xbox who's listening, I'm sure the sales numbers of everything I just talked about are through the roof ridiculous. You should do this more often. There wasn't one for Hellblade. I think that was a total miss. I would have bought it. I would have been rocking it still. I still got my Starfield one on. I would have easily put the Hellblade on. I would have easily bought the Hellblade controller, and you didn't have that. This needs to happen more often. You need to celebrate the games that are coming out that are first party, and you can do that with these wraps. This is all found money for you. Yes, it costs money to make these things, sure, but I'm sure you're not paying through the nose to have these things designed. And plus, again, they're made to order. They're not sitting on store shelves somewhere. You're getting them directly from Microsoft. So when someone orders it, they make one, they send it out, and everyone's a winner.
Yep.
Let's get your thoughts of how big Call of Duty is going to be. But more specifically, the last couple of days, their marketing has been on fire.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't see any marketing because I don't watch ads at all, right? So I don't watch any live TV. I don't I have YouTube Premium, so I skip ads altogether. But I'm noticing that there are things going on when I go to web pages. I am seeing it all over there. So there is stuff going on. I did get the note that this thing is happening, the Wrath, and I'm with you on this. I don't understand why. Like, they had the Deadpool Wolverine one, right? It was a custom console, and I'm like, are you like seriously not gonna just take the money? Like, put that in the design lab, charge $100, $200, who cares, and let people buy it. Why wouldn't, like, what are you doing? Not like just taking people's money. How many people would buy a Deadpool Wolverine? They had two of them, two different console wraps. Like, why do you not just want to take the people's money? Like, take the money. Who can take the money? I don't get it. Another very good potential here. They have another licensed Marvel IP. Not Marvel IP, Disney IP coming up in Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
You have a stupid collector's edition with a stupid globe. Really? A globe.
Terrible.
A globe.
Terrible.
What the hell are you doing?
They could have made it
this custom console one-off.
Thank you.
Like, again, where is the obvious? Throw the same thing in the design lab.
Yeah.
Let people buy the controller. Let them buy the wrap. Why are you not just taking people's money? Like, I'm curious how many people will end up buying this thing for $60 and see if it like sells enough. Is it just worth it to do it or not? Right? There's a little bit of cost as far as putting up a design pattern that you vet with the people that go and print it, and then putting in the plumbing in sort of your back end to allow it to be bought. Mm-hmm. I get that, but it's not that much that it's like not worth doing. Like, how can it not be worth doing, right? You also just look at it as marketing.
Yes.
People have enthusiasm of like, oh, I have to get the wrap, and I'm going to unbox the wrap, and I'm going to put up a video about, oh, look at this thing. It's so awesome. I'm going to take a picture of it, and I'm going to put it on everywhere. Like, why do you not want that? You want the enthusiasm. Just go, like, freaking do it. What is wrong with them? This is the stuff that just is mind-boggling to me. It's an easy win. They have so much IP, So many games. Flight Sim's coming out. Is that a potential? You could certainly create a wrap for that. There's so many options. But I wish they would take the opportunity. They make all these custom consoles, and you're like, sell it. Just sell it.
Yes.
Why are you doing a one-off that you have to win? Instead, sell it. Let people buy it. Why does that matter? You can charge more. They're not going to say, oh, it's an extra $100. I won't buy. No, people are crazy. We'll buy it.
Yeah.
People are paying $10,000 for a PS5 Pro 38th anniversary. Sell the damn console. Sell the damn wrap. Get the money. Why are you not doing? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's look. I again, surprise! Breaking news. I don't have a business degree, but I think that this is pretty common sense, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's not 1-to-1, right? What I'm about to say before we bring Asante in. Like, for instance, everyone kept saying there's no way that they're going to be able to put Call of Duty into Xbox Game Pass. They're going to lose too much money. But do you know everyone that, and again, we have decent sized circles, but everyone that I have spoken to about it were like, yeah, I got the $30 upgrade. I haven't played in years, but you know what? I'm playing the game for free. That's the sentiment. People are not paying $76.43 for the game. Now, if you want to, by all means, please. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not watching your pockets. But I am going to say that digital $30 upgrade, if let's just say 5 million people upgrade on Xbox Game Pass, 5 million. Do the freaking math. I mean, think about that, right? That's it. What would it equate to? $150 million in digital monies for an item that most people, because remember, Call of Duty is one of those games that people spend the $100 and buy the $100 edition and then go drop another $100 in DLC for skins. It happens. It's a thing. So getting back to the wraps, look, they're made to order. Same thing with Design Labs. You, as a consumer, literally go in, you design your controller. Usually, it like this has a standard. It has the standard skin. There's no changing it. It just that's what the design is, and you build your controller around that design. You can use gloss blacks. You can use flats. You can use metallic. They have every metallic color in the rainbow you could possibly imagine, and you design it. And guess what? It's not sitting on a shelf. It's not having to be packaged. There's no box for it. They don't have to ship it. It's literally being made to order. They should do this with every freaking game that comes out. They absolutely should. But getting back, any final thoughts, Hargeet, for Call of Duty?
Yeah, I mean, like the marketing, we knew there was going to be two focuses, right? There's the Activision focus and the Xbox focus.
Yes.
Xbox gets to market it now. It won't be PlayStation. So wherever Xbox wants to market it, they're going to. And you're going to see Game Pass logos. You're going to see Xbox logos. That's fantastic. I don't know what the split is. Hopefully it's like 50-50 or something like that, where Xbox is getting out there saying, hey, this is our game. And you know, let's get people to realize it's there and market Game Pass, right? This is one of those things that allows them to market Game Pass. We'll see what the end result is. But that is, you know, we knew it was going to have massive marketing anyways. Activision always markets, right? So we're obviously going to see Call of Duty marketing everywhere anyway. But it really just comes down to, will this shift the needle on, like, are we going to have more people associate Call of Duty with Xbox? Let's see how that goes, right? And if that really gives them a boost or not. Hopefully it gives them a boost in Game Pass subscriptions. But hopefully it also says, hey, let me go upgrade from an Xbox One or PS4 and get a Series S or Series X, right? And I have not seen a bundle deal yet.
No.
I don't know if they're going to do one sort of in the like the Black Friday, Cyber Monday window, right? To have something out there mid-November-ish and say, hey, we're going to have this available. And if you want to get a bundle with Call of Duty or with Game Pass, whatever it is, right? We're going to have a bundle for Call of Duty and it'll be available at X price on Black Friday. We'll see if they do that. I think it's a stellar opportunity for them. We did see that they are decreasing the die size, right? So it's using a smaller nanometer for making the new chips, which should cut the costs. They've cut the cost of the presumably at least cut the cost for the coolant, right? The cooling solution. So it should be cheaper to make. Hopefully that means they can take a bit more hit on the margin and say we're gonna like make these even cheaper. And you get some pretty steep discounts in this holiday. Let's see what happens, right? This is their opportunity to bring people over from older gens and say, hey, if you want to, you don't have to. Of course, it's still on PS4, it's still on Xbox One. But if you want to jump into the new gen, here you go, nice and cheap. Get a Series S. Even better, nice and cheap. Get a Series X, right? You got a digital edition console that just came out. Cut that thing to like 300. It's a potential to just pull people in. If you can cut the other one down to 150, it's just an easy buy, right? So let's see. Let's hope they do that. I hope they do market that as well. Hey, come on over. It's Xbox. We've got Halo. We've got Gears. We've got Call of Duty, Overwatch. We've got those are all first party games now, right? So we've got all that stuff. EA, all those games are in Game Pass as well.
Yeah,
come on over, right? So let's see what they do. I like this is the beginning of that ramp up. We have what, a week, 2 weeks left.
Yeah,
for it to come out next Friday.
25th. Yeah, 25th.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. So, Casante, let's bring you into the conversation. Again, everything that Hargeet said. I love how he puts up the screen. That's great. The slander is real. Thoughts and theories. The controllers came out today. The wrap came out today. I think that everything that Hargeet said is a home run. There's literally no reason why you don't start doing this. Now, again, I don't know what the sales were, because there's some people in the chat like, well, maybe the sales for the Starfield wrap weren't good. Maybe. But how much does that thing actually cost to make? Probably not a lot of money, to be honest with you.
So let me say this.
Good.
Let me say this. So I have asked this question point blank of certain powers that be. Why is it that we get to see all these cool one-off consoles, these really cool, interesting consoles, and we never get to buy it? Oh, it's a raffle or some crap like that, right? Why can't we just buy it? Because all you're doing is making me want something that you then don't sell to me. And I have been told that the reason why those at least the consoles, right? I'm not talking about the wraps, but at least the consoles. The reason why you don't see that happening is because the pipeline that they have established that spits out Xboxes is a very, very, very hard pipeline to get right. And that's the same thing for any console. So when they're mature and they're good and they're able to spit them out at the amount that they need to be able to spit them out while all still working perfectly, changing one small thing could be the kiss of death, right? They harken back to blue screen to Red Ring of Death as why that is a factor in the equation,
and that's fair on the console side, but not on the custom design lab stuff.
I said the console, right? Now, and the custom design lab stuff also somewhat. The controllers, that's a whole different thing, right? What it sounds like to me, and I'm not excusing it. I'm basically just explaining what it seems like is happening. The way they built that environment from day one makes it difficult for them to be dynamic in new content. Meaning, hey, here's this new thing that's really cool, Call of Duty or whatever. Add that into your dynamics and make it work. The way their pipeline is currently set up is set up for a very simplistic dial by numbers straight way. And in order for them to be able to be dynamic in that way would require them changing a lot of pieces of that pipeline. And it might be more cost effective not to, which, let me be clear, I'm explaining what it sounds like. I am still in the camp of, come on, people, I want my console. If you want me, and I'm a console collector, I don't even play on them as much anymore. I collect them. I enjoy the consoles. I love hacking stuff, whatever. But at the end of the day, I have every console in this place. If you give me a console that is substantial, a really cool E-Day, for example, Xbox, you're damn right I'm buying that, right?
Of course.
So, right? So I'll give you a little bit more because I've dealt in the manufacturing world.
Yeah.
We used a third party to do this at my company, and basically, you have it on your site, but it goes to a third party. They go ahead and
goes to a
do
third
the
party,
colors that you want, and then ship you the product, right? So it is
So when
viable.
it comes to that,
yeah,
when it comes to that, that's where I am solely with you guys, at least on the wraps. Because
Yes.
that you can outsource
That's the
to a third
complicated
party.
piece.
There are
'Cause
really
it's easy to
cool
do
third
color.
parties. Even Boom, like if I'm not mistaken, you've worked with a few really cool wrap makers,
Yes.
making some high
Extreme
quality,
consoles.
good looking.
And
Extreme
that's
console,
what gets
good
me
look.
is it
You can
exists.
easily outsource it
It
to a third
exists.
party and not
Exactly.
have any skin on your nose, right? And just have them making them. And I love what Boom was
Exactly.
saying. If they were to churn and just slightly make their process for Design Lab a bit more dynamic, right? You don't have to make custom consoles. Just make sure that
Just
you
make
can
the
make an
wrap.
amalgamation of it in Design Lab. So you put it out, and this is
Yeah.
the new controller of the month, and everyone can just go to Design Lab, make
Yeah.
their own, customize it a little bit, and then they got it. I get it,
Yep.
right? The problem we have here is they still are the Titanic. And what I mean by that is not the fact that they're going to sink, but by the fact that if they want to make a turn, they talk about it 5 years ago, and then it turns 5 years later. you know what I'm saying? They are a
And I
huge
think that's
boat.
it.
It takes a
They're
long
just so
time
slow
to
at
do
doing
anything.
those, like the
Those little
ERP
dynamic
stuff,
things.
the relationship stuff. Like
Yes.
it's stupid, and it shouldn't.
Yes.
They need to be more agile, and they
Yes.
say that they're agile, and it's like, come on,
It's very difficult. I get it. So I agree with you guys. It's just some financial and, as you know, manufactural realities on the ground, Hargeet, that may stop us from getting what we want, right? As far as the marketing is concerned, I find their marketing super interesting. I always have and I always will, right? I feel like Microsoft specifically lives in a world that wants us to go back to a world where there's regional boundaries, because we'll talk to you guys a certain way, you'll hear us. We'll talk to Americans a certain way, they'll hear us. We'll talk to Europeans, we'll talk to different people in a different way because we need to in order to reach them, right? But we don't live in that world. So every time you speak to one side of the house, it resonates everywhere, and then everybody else complains because it's antithetical to the message you're giving them. you know what I mean? So I always find it super. They can't win. They just cannot win, because if you say no console required for the audience that doesn't like consoles, now you just pissed off all your hardcore because they're watching at 6 a.m. When they should be sleeping. you know what I mean? So it's always interesting to me. So I think they're threading the needle as best as they can when it comes to Call of Duty, right? I really do. I think they're doing their best. And the person who did it in the chat, who said the shotgun method, that is so them. They like to wait until it's baked, until it's ready to go, and then for the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks, they just shoot like Call of Duty, like marketing spray all over the place. Everywhere you go, it's Call of Duty. I see that's what they like to do, and it works better that way more often than not, because it's not sustained, and as such, it's probably more cost effective, right? I will say though, and this is not smoke, but it's an interesting observation, you still don't see Activision marketing it, which tells us that it's actually true, right? Microsoft and Xbox specifically can say, "Hey, here's Call of Duty, and it's on Game Pass." Awesome, but you won't see Activision in their normal channels doing that. We haven't seen that up until now, and if I'm not mistaken, that hasn't changed, right? Am I wrong, gentlemen? Right? I was hoping that at some point they would shock the world and you'd say, "Hey, also on Game Pass." I don't think you'll ever see that, right? Which is kind of interesting. But to their credit, they got it on Times Square billboards. They're out there doing what they can. You know what I mean? They're spending that money. So, we shall see. Now, this to me is not a victory lap as to what Xbox can and cannot do or how great this will work. The victory lap will be seeing the next Call of Duty on Game Pass. Because if the next Call of Duty is also on Game Pass, that tells you this Call of Duty was successful. So I look forward to seeing how the numbers shake out in the, "Hey, I bought it," versus the, "Hey, I'm on Game Pass, so I'm just gonna get it," right? I'm looking forward to see, because it has to uplift one side or another drastically for it to be successful. Either people buy the hell out of it right now still, right? Which I suspect people will. And then that will make the powers that be go, look, hey, we didn't lose much by putting it on Game Pass. People still bought it. Or the Game Pass numbers must go monstrous. They must become freaking donkulous from one day before and one day after. And that'll also tell them that, hey, this was worth it, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing what side of the house that becomes.
Well, you know, as we all know, right? They normally don't like to share numbers, but what they did share almost immediately is the Game Pass subscription numbers for when Starfield released.
Yes,
it was the most any one day of new subscribers since the inception of the actual service back in summer of 2017. So I would imagine, ladies and gentlemen, that we could see. Now, listen, Starfield, that's a polarizing conversation, because some people like myself absolutely love it, and there are others that that don't like it for particular reasons. Maybe it's just too big. Maybe it's just too wide open. And there has even for me, there are points in Starfield, like when I was playing, trying to find all the powers. It's a big undertaking. It's a very, very large game. And it's sometimes I know it sounds ridiculous, but a bit overwhelming, right? So if you didn't like it for that, I'm not gonna fight you on it. But there were a lot of disingenuous takes because it was an Xbox first party game and it's not on PlayStation. Because if it was, we wouldn't even be having this conversation to be the game of the year when it released. That's the way it is. But that's not in fact the case. Fine, whatever. But just real quick before we get to the some super chats and then we get to the last topic of the show, the marketing has been crazy. I think you're going to see just as many PlayStation gamers buy it as they did last year for Modern Warfare 3. I think you're going to see a ridiculous amount of new subscribers. And again, I don't have a number. I mean, could you see 3 million more subscribers by the end of the year? It's always possible. Right? Could it be 1 million, 3 million, 5 million by the end of the year? Because this is Call of Duty. This is the game of 2024. Again, it's not going to be your game potentially of the year, not your favorite game, but it's Call of Duty, and it's inside Xbox Game Pass. And also, to add to your interest in the numbers, Kay, I'm also interested on the back end of that, meaning that if the person that was originally going to buy the $100 Vault Edition upgraded to 30, is that said player going to spend more on microtransactions because they feel like they got the game for quote unquote free? And I think that you might see that. You might see something like, for me, when was the last time I actually bought a season pass for Call of Duty? Never. Because I don't play Call of Duty. There you go. I haven't played Call of Duty like hardcore since Xbox had marketing on the Xbox 360. So, but this beta, I was infatuated with it. And I am going to buy season passes. I'm going to buy skins. And you know what? Look, every time there's a new season, well, it's not called seasons anymore, a new operation for Halo, I spend $45 because I get enough money to buy everything. I love Halo. Am I a whale? No, but they definitely get my money. And
you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? Next time in Call of Duty, you are teabagged by Nicki Minaj, and it could be the one BoomStick XL.
I will not buy that. I won't take that skin for free, sir. I'm telling you right now, but I will. Now, wouldn't it be odd if you ran around as Diddy and you teabag people? Pause.
Oh man, no, that's a bridge too far, sir. That is a bridge too far, sir. You need to take that one back. You're getting bad ideas.
My.
I'm gonna reel it back in. Cat's out of the bag. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what's up.
That is terrible.
Oh my God!
Damn.
Okay.
That was something. That was something. But you know what? Listen, we're here to laugh and have fun. There it is. Let's see. So we've got a couple of super chats here, and we have one here from Robert Jr. Robert, welcome as always. He drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Boom! Can I borrow your Xbox GB for 5 seconds. I mean, if
The
I
chat
could,
is
I would.
broken right now
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of what you just said. The
I
chat is
know.
broken.
The chat is broke. I know. It is what it is. And we're having fun here, folks.
That's so good.
JD Gamer drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says, market tests have proven that marketing more than 21 days before a product is out doesn't increase sales of that product. It just wastes money. I mean, well, there you go, folks. I mean, again, I like the slow and steady. I mean, I guess I mean, what do I know? Again, I don't have a marketing degree, so maybe the shotgun effect works that RC Polygon was talking about earlier, and it is an effective one because it's a wide cone, and you are getting a lot of people right around the time.
Isn't that kind of the Bethesda way? Remember when Bethesda used to not be Xbox Studios, right? Like, I mean, it seems like a billion years ago. They literally waited for like to this last 6 months and then marketed the hell out of Fallout 4, right?
Yeah, well,
like,
I actually was in the audience when they announced that. Yeah,
there you go. It went from being not even known to it's coming out in 6 months. That seems to be the Bethesda way. Maybe that's how they're affecting Xbox these days. What do you think?
I mean, it's a possibility. Look, I'll put it to this way. I was in the audience when they announced that Fallout, the Fallout announcement, and it was literally 6 months before. They're like, "Hey, here's Fallout. Oh, it's coming out here," and people were like, "What? 6? What, are you kidding me?" So I mean.
That was an announcement trailer and a reveal date
and a reveal date,
one,
which is bonkers.
Imagine a world we live in right now where they talk about the announcement to the announcement that'll eventually give you the teaser, that'll give you the trailer, that'll give you the year, and then maybe one day you'll get the date. These guys announced it and released it in 6 months.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What a world.
Doesn't happen nowadays, that's for sure. J-Mac, our generous brother, who's been a channel member for 35 months. J-Mac, thank you so much for the ridiculous amount of support. He says Xbox is showing the gaming industry what it looks like to be done on a $1 trillion level. It looks different. Xbox World Order is fully operational. Hashtag gray beards. And all of us have gray beards because I definitely got one. And Spartan 661 has not gifted 5. He has gifted 10 double barrel gaming. Thank you so much, Hargeet, for that. I super appreciate it. So thank you so much, Spartan 661, for donating 10 double barrel gaming memberships. Please, if you got one, thank this man in the chat. It would be greatly appreciated. Shout out to Epic Treasure in the chat. Great to see you here, darling. Hopefully you are doing well. Thank you so much for stopping by. Listen, let's talk, gentlemen, about the Xbox Partner Showcase. Now, obviously, they had one in March. They had one last October. The one this past March was, I think I gave it an 8.0 or 7.5. I don't really remember, but I went over the list of games, and it's a lot of games in there. Obviously, they also added, they added the fact that the Persona 3 Reloaded DLC was going to be free for all Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. That's a big deal. But we're starting to hear, they're rumblings. Now, has anything been confirmed of what those world premieres are? I haven't heard a thing. I have heard that they're keeping it super close to the vest. So what does that tell me, Hargeet? That it could be something special. Now, again, it's no first party. But I think Psychonauts, who's in the chat, said during when he was on with Mav the other day that his pick, because he was asked, is going to be something Square related. I think Square is going to announce something Final Fantasy there. That's just me, and I'm gonna rest on that. But he had actually brought up a great theory, Hargeet. He said that it would be cool, and again, I don't know if it's possible, on an announcement from Toys for Bob, who is now considered third party. They're a partner, right? They're a partner. They're not owned by Microsoft. They're not, anymore. They let them go do their own thing. what are you expecting at the show? Because again, there are certain people like me that are very excited. It's an Xbox show. Why wouldn't I be? Yes, it is going to be third party. Are most of these games probably going to show up on a Switch or PS5? Absolutely. I don't doubt that at all. But you don't know if any of these games are going to be an Xbox Game Pass. And there might be some Game Pass deals, but they did specifically say there was going to be a few world premieres. What are you thinking, man?
So, like, I think one of the ones that I don't know if they mentioned it, but Towerborn has this early access preview thingamabobby happening in Steam right now, right?
Right.
And that is due for release. I don't know if they'll do that in the Dev Direct, or they can announce it here and say, hey, it's launching in January or something, whatever it is, right? On Xbox, right? That would be one of the potentials. It's like kind of lingering there. Contraband is one that we haven't heard from in a while. That is something that maybe is ready to go. There have been other games we've heard rumors of, but haven't actually been announced in any way, right? So it could be one of those, like the Wu-Tang,
Yes.
game. I don't know if Project Dragon's still a thing or not, but the one with IO, if that's still happening, right? There's just these other
They've gone
games.
super silent on that, dude. We haven't heard anything.
So there's a potential for it, but here's the thing: if it's too large, you want to wait to your showcase, right?
Yeah.
But also, there's a problem, right? As they said, we had more content than we could fit. They might have to move things to here because they just couldn't fit it in the showcase, right? So it could be some of those. I would hold off on Toys for Bob just because it's so recent that I don't think they'd have anything ready. I think it would be asking too much for them to have concept art done to the level where you can say, let's have a trailer. I think they need to cook for a couple of years before they can give you something. That's just my thoughts.
I agree. No, I agree. That's a good point.
So I would say hold off on Toys for Bob. But it could be other of these, like, they said they were working with Japanese developers on some content that's going to be exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
It could be one of those. Though I would have thought that would be at TGS. That would be the right place for that for me. But it could be. It could be something that's coming here. They've mentioned Square, correct? They mentioned Square is going to be there.
Yes.
So if they are, then what's left? Like we got all the Final Fantasies from before. What about the other ones? Like there's only so many things you haven't put over there yet. So I'm gonna guess it's one of those, unless they have a big game coming that I missed. It sounds like it's probably gonna be one of those. We're missing 7 remake and rebirth, and we're missing 16. It's probably 16. I mean, again, this is just a guess, but like, what else could it be, right? What else are we missing? Is it like a Dragon Quest or something? Is there maybe it's a Kingdom Hearts update? But gosh, that would be a big thing to put here, right? But okay, maybe it is, because that is another thing that's still in the works. But yeah, I mean, if Square is coming, I would just expect maybe that is what's going to happen, right? That was one of the big announcements we were waiting for. Is like, oh, that didn't happen.
Yeah,
we got the Pixel remasters. We got the Mana games. We did not get, the big FF16, right? So maybe that's what happens. But I think there'll be other smaller things. I wouldn't expect this to be massive AAA things. It could be, but I wouldn't expect it to be that. But updates on things that are coming.
Yep.
Right. There's still games to come, and they can certainly showcase those. One that's coming out, is it the same day? Unknown 9, is that coming out? And they were marketing that, if I remember right. Right.
Yes.
Unknown 9, that was them.
Yes, that's
right.
Yep.
So, or was it Jeff? I think it was them, right?
No,
so,
it was actually Unknown 9 was actually at the last one in March.
Yeah. So that one would be a great one to say, hey, it's coming out today, tomorrow, whatever it is, right? And here's the latest gameplay trailer, blah, right? So that could be another one. There's plenty of those kind of games that are about to come out. There's Expedition 33, I think it was.
Yes.
There was 33 Immortals. Right? They have those two. They already mentioned, I think, the Wu Chang game, right? That's already there. So those are the kind of games. There's many little updates that we're kind of waiting on. There's another one that's like been absent for a while, is Hollow Knight. It's just been right. So Silksong, right? It's just been absent for a while. We got that announcement. Was it like 3 years ago? It's been a while, right?
It's been a while. Yep.
It's like, is that ready to roll? Maybe there's something coming up there, right? So those, like, I would expect to see those smaller games, right? Smaller in that they're indies, they're not like the massive AAAs, but they're going to be big games anyway. So that's what I'm looking at, right? There's plenty of these other third-party things, that they've been working on with that are their own kind of games. I guess they're kind of Xbox-y exclusive things. That they could be there, right? So there's plenty of other studios that we're working with. So any one of those. But I don't. Yeah, I don't know what else. Like, it's 25 minutes, 30 minutes. So it's not going to be like
it's 25 minutes.
Things, but
yeah.
But hey, like, hopefully it's enough stuff. And I also look for those Game Pass drops. Those are the most fun part of it, right? Coming to Game Pass. So like, but that's kind of what I would expect, right? So there's going to be some indies. Maybe a couple of big things coming to Game Pass. Infinite Wealth wasn't really announced there to be coming to Game Pass, and it's kind of due if they're going to do it. Right. So this is probably a time to announce that. Sega's in there, I think. Right. So that might be another thing.
They're bringing the new trailer for Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Yep. But I would love to see Infinite Wealth dropped into Game Pass. That'd be awesome.
Dope, dude. Yeah.
So that's another potential. Was it Dragon Age comes out at the end of the month, right? And they're marketing that one. Maybe they show another trailer, but I think we've seen it enough times, but I'm not sure. Maybe they show another trailer. What else? I mean, like, those are the things that come to mind, right? So I like, it's going to be stuff that's coming out right now or new stuff that's coming out early next year, like stuff like that, right? So before that March showcase, right?
Stalker 2 is going to be there. That's been confirmed also.
That is third party. That's right. Stalker, right? That's third party. So there you go, right? So that's another one that should be showing up. That's November, right? Early November.
November 20th. Yeah.
So late November. So cool. So but that's cool. I think people have been previewing that. I think I saw Destin put out something about that, right?
Yep.
So
talked to a few people also behind the scenes that have gotten their hands on it as well. So yeah, it's what I'm hearing is great things.
Yep. So I mean, those are my thoughts. Hopefully it'll be good. We'll see what they give us, but I'm looking for those Game Pass announcements, and I'm sure there'll be a fun set of games to go over. But tomorrow 1:00, right? 1:00
yep.
Eastern.
Well, when I'm in the airport, I'll be watching it while I wait to jump into my plane. But Asante, before we wrap up today's show, I do want to get your hot takes on this because you and I are super fans of hip hop, obviously. And the Wu-Tang Clan game, we don't know what it's going to be, but it's supposedly a side scroller, beat 'em up, RPG, action adventure type of thing. Take my money, please. I don't care if I have to buy it. If there's a deluxe edition that gives you a pair of gold headphones, I'm buying it. It's fine. That could be there. But you know what else is interesting? I didn't hear anyone talk about this. I'm an OG Sega fan. And when I heard and saw with my own eyes what they're doing with Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, Shinobi, Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, they've been working on this stuff for a minute. And I got to tell you something. This would be a great opportunity to drop one of these games. And like I said, I don't even care if they're in Game Pass. Just put them out so we can buy them. I'm buying every one of them. I don't even care. But I'd love to see an update to what's going on with the quote-unquote super games. This could be an opportunity.
Absolutely it could. Absolutely it could. You've heard me say many a times that every show they do needs to be their biggest show. I hate the idea that, temper your expectations. They have enough studios now. They have enough bullets in the chamber now that every show that you hear they're doing should include something that blows your wig back. It could be, temper, and then they throw something crazy over the finish line, like something just wild that you wouldn't expect, right? Even if it's a JPEG, just to be like, yep, we're doing that shit, right? Like they are in third place, right? If they want us to continue to be sexy and relevant, that's how they need to move. They need to move that every show. It doesn't matter what show we do. It needs to be the baddest show you've ever seen, right? So with that in mind, I hope they go into this show and do far better than they've done before, right? You got Tina and the crew working their magic. You know, they are beyond reproach at this
blessing
point.
in disguise, brother.
That's right. They're beyond reproach at this point. I expect that at least the UI UX of it all will be beautiful and the pacing will be clean. I just hope they lean on their strengths, right? That's what I'm looking for. There have been lots of rumor and speculation abound. I haven't heard anything that I believe just yet, right? I've heard that people talk about loopholes about ABK being third party because ABK is for the streets, as it were. So maybe we see ABK stuff, and I'm like, I don't know about that, right? But Silksong I have heard a very strong, hey, is this the year? But again, it happens every year. Every year is anytime there's a partner showcase, is this the year? You know, I look forward to seeing them living more up to their potential because they just have, as Hargeet was saying, they just have so many games to potentially show in varying states of showing it that they can't put them all in that big show. So what parts of that big show end up here? There needs to be some, right? Because every time they put a show together, it needs to be the best. I mean, it needs to surprise people. It can't always be LA all the time. It needs to surprise people.
I agree.
And I feel like in the third party realm, right? Maybe you release Replaced now because that's third party, right? Maybe you finally put a date down on Replaced for us. Say, hey, it's coming out. You know, is there a shadow drop of some kind of a game that we didn't know we wanted, right? And of course, as Hargeet was saying, which I completely agree with, the fun part is the day one released on Game Pass, right? And there's a lot of that, both AAA and indie alike. So, like, I don't have any particular one game because I've heard some rumor and speculation. Like I said, I don't believe any and all of them, but I just want them to leave people's mouths open. That's what I
agree. You're not wrong. And I think that, you know, you bring up a great point. They're in a position to do that. Like there shouldn't be ever moving forward with what they have already announced, who they're working with and what they're working on that we're aware of. You got to remember, we know a lot. This roadmap is dense and that involves a lot of moving parts. So we know what's happening. What's interesting and fascinating at the same time is what we don't know and what they're working on that they haven't talked about. So you're right. Every time Xbox has a, you know, indie showcase or an Xbox partner preview event or a first party event, they need to just let it all hang out because they can do it.
Every show is a show where you, and obviously not this show because it's called the Partner Showcase, but in general, every show is a show you ask, is this the show where Everwild comes back? Is this the show when they finally unveil the full-fledged aspects of Fable? Is this the show where they finally, talk about Contraband? When you talk about a roadmap, it's not something that happened yesterday. They have been laying that groundwork for years now. Code names that we have forgotten about. Right, but they've presumably continued to be working on these projects. So when do they come back in a big way? Right? When do you turn around? They have just a showcase. Oh yeah, this will just be a couple of games on Game Pass, and then they slap you across your face with something that you did not expect, and that just leaves your mouth agape, like they did on any given Sunday when they told you that Halo was going to Unreal, right?
Yeah.
Like they still have that capability to surprise and delight. I'm looking forward to them doing that every year.
When is the event where they're going to announce Banjo-Kazooie? Because I think it's going to happen soon. Now, we'll see. I might be 60 years old by the time I get my. I love it. That's good stuff. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us. A big thank you to all the super chats and, of course, the generosity through gifts of the channel membership. Again, we super appreciate it. It is. We don't take any of this for granted, which is why we really enjoy giving back as much as we do. And it's because you find folks have been so generous to us, it's literally the least that we can do. But again, just want to give a programming update. There's not going to be a new show tomorrow at 12 because I'm literally leaving for the airport in the afternoon, and I want to get there early because it's New York and I hate going into the city, and I got to go into Queens and I hate it. And it's always freaking traffic no matter how early you leave. And of course, Friday, I'm going to be doing something in the afternoon. And again, there's not going to be a breakfast at Boom because I'm probably going to have jet lag, and I don't want to put out a show just to slap a show together because that's not right for you fine folks. So when I will be able to talk about on the 29th, I'll set that up. It's going to be really nice. And Monday, we will return to our regular scheduled program. Me and Fuzzy will be doing the Xbox Lunch Break special, and we're going to be going over everything that happened at the partner preview event that is happening tomorrow. But let's get everyone out of here. Hargeet Chani, brother, let's sell your book. Let's tell everyone where they can check out your YouTube channel and subscribe. And more importantly, find you on other podcasts, because I believe you're going to be getting together tonight with Fonz, which is about an hour and a half from now. Please, by all means, sell the brand.
And by the way, you just got another 5 gifted memberships.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, Spartan661, for donating 15. Wow, dude. That is... yeah, it's certainly worth the horn. Thank you very much, Spartan. We truly appreciate the generosity. We honestly do, and that is very kind of you. Thank you so much. Hargeet, brother, sell the brand.
Yep. So YouTube, it's Hargeet Chani 1 if you want to subscribe away there. If you want to pick up my book, shop.chani.us. It's a sci-fi novel called Emergence. Check that out. You can buy merch if you want. And then, we'll be on at 10 o'clock U.S. Eastern Time with Fonz on Fonz Gaming is the channel for GameStop Live. Check that out. And I think C Money will be doing instead of being on your show tomorrow, they'll be doing their own. C Money and Dude will be doing
the co-stream. Yeah.
With the showcase. So if you want to check that out, check that out. And I'll be on with them on Friday as well. At 7. That's 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Point for Gamers. So check that out.
Thank you very much, Hargeet, for being here as always, and of course applying the knowledge that you bring to each and every show that you're on. Santa, let's sell the brand of the Gaming Circle podcasts. Now, I don't know, are you doing a show this Saturday? Because I believe Everborn, the slanderous one, is going to be at New York Comic-Con, if I'm not mistaken. Do you have a co-host that's joining you?
We're still working on it in the background. There's more to come on that respect. But yes, there will be a show this weekend, unless something changes. Who knows? We'll talk about that. But yes, on that note, you can follow me, Asante, TK Asante, on the PlayStation, the Xbox, all those places. So when we do give those updates, you will learn that there. But as normal, we're most likely going to have a show. Last week we had a pretty interesting show. I've been on my indie kick, as I tend to be, so I invited a few indie developers to join me to kind of hang out and talk about their process. And the Next Fest, which is a Steam thing, is going on right now, where there's a bunch of demos. And if you're an Xbox fan, like you probably are watching this show, they have a similar program on the Xbox right now, where you can go and download a bunch of demos. Not as many as the Steam one, but still a good, healthy amount of demos that you can try out and see how you feel about it for games that may not be coming out until 2025, right? So I've been having a good time playing some of those and talking to the developers about it. But come check us out. The Gaming Circle podcast, which is Saturday 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, you can also check out some of our written work that we've been putting down on the gamingcircle.com on the blog section, which we've been also spending a lot of time on. So thank you guys so much, as usual. Talk to you next week.
Well, thank you, of course, for being here. And again, thank you for over 700 live viewers. That's across Twitter and YouTube. We certainly appreciate it. If you missed, I did an unboxing of the new Series X 2 terabyte. It's about 3 minutes long. Actually, very much enjoyed that, to be honest with you. And it was a lot of fun. And that was one take. Normally, I do like 6 before I get it right. And I actually somehow one take. It's difficult. It got it done, but it was fun. Hopefully, you guys and gals enjoyed it. I know the one thing I missed on was turning the controller around where you can see the back is all green. It's I forgot. So sorry about that, but you can actually see it where when I kind of show the controller, you can see that the back of it is the same green as the bottom disc of the console. It's actually a really nice controller. I mean, they didn't do much to it, to be honest with you. It has some the same speckle on the D-pad, and the actual A, B, X, Y buttons are blacked out. So it is kind of cool. I'm not going to front, but it's just a black controller. But hopefully you enjoyed that. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends.